Hi. Blue hedgehogs are the newest trend. Apparently people just like how they look. But from what I've heard, they've been around for years by now. So I wanted to take a look at what they actually mean when they ask me to search the apparent economic crisis in 1999 called the Sonic inflation. Hopefully it relates to the famous Geometry Dash Sonic series. Otherwise, I'm going to cry. Oh, thank God. Supersonic is the first level in the Sonic series, which is a series of mega collabs hosted by Zentic Alpha and later on Viprint. This is the one that started it all. The most important thing to note about this level is that it's the most downloaded insane demon in the entire game. Supersonic is very popular, so to speak. The level looks like a very polished mid 1.9 level with some of the most unremarkable parts ever made, and with some parts that still inspire creators to this day. For some reason, this level started the trend of Viprint having like the most annoying memory ball part in every single Sonic series level. There's really not much to say about the deco, it's just good all around. The gameplay is where some real split opinions come from. In my experience, this level has actual ass balancing, with specifically G-Boy's transition being an insanely big choke point for most players. Also, this ending is a bigger cock block than trying to get a girlfriend via Discord. The best part about this level is the song, because listening to it for more than 10 minutes will make your ears bleed uncomfortably. And we all know that blood is good for you. The level also got a coin update a couple years after it was released. The coins are pathetically easy, with only the first being significantly out of your way. But because it's in like the first 10% of the level, literally nobody cares and complains about that. Why not go for the coins? They are most of the time either very easy or very much just in your way. A lot of smaller skips and swag routes were actually not patched in the coin update, which I personally do find pretty cool. Skips that are harder than the actual route are funny and make for very entertaining clips. So why not just keep them in? They keep the spirit of the original level alive more, and they are very fun to pull off. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, like secret ways, but that's a completely different book that I'm not willing to open right now. Nowadays the level looks kind of whatever, but hey, for the time being, the level wasn't bad whatsoever, it's just aged. But for the next level, I actually brought some anti-aging cream, and hopefully it works. Won't you look at that? It actually did! Ultrasonic was made in late 1.9 and it shows. This level aged very well, unlike some parts in Supersonic. The level is sadly also pretty unbalanced, with the second half being a very good bit harder than the first, especially the ending. The biggest issue that most people have with this level is the swing up around the middle of the level. They say it's like weird or something, but I've never had any real issues with it, as long as you don't go for the coin, because the coins in this level suck ass. They are awful. You have to do the last ship part as a big ship for a coin, and you have to do the swing copter as a big ball for the coin. Actually, fuck off. It's so annoying. I have far more issues with Jazor, because that part is stupid inconsistent and has very fragile gameplay. Which means if you hit one orb just slightly too late, you will die 3 clicks later. Which is very annoying and unnecessarily difficult. Not to mention it's at the end of the level, just before one of the most chokeable endings in any level ever. So yeah, it probably has even worse balancing than Supersonic. But whatever, because it looks good, and that's all that matters in this world. The decoration really does just look like a better Supersonic, which is a good thing. Some of my favorite parts are XCY7 Evasion and G-Boy. The rest of the level also looks great, especially for a 1.9 level. This does feel like the most coherent Sonic level, at least up to this point. I don't think any of the other Sonic levels even come remotely close to this bar. All of the parts are polished and none of them really stick out as very much a lot worse decoration wise, unlike some parts in Hyper and Subsonic. And even in Supersonic for that matter. It uses the Big Chungus Funny Haha Lamau song, which is totally fine with me. Overall, I really like this level, even if it has some very sore points in the balancing and that the coins are awful. This next level is the first to not be made in 1.9, so it must slap, right? Hypersonic is the third level in the Sonic series, and it was made all the way back in 2.1, which is 5 years ago by now. Also, these last 2 levels are hosted by Viprint, which is why they look and feel so much different from the first 2. Zentic Alpha was busy with like IRL stuff, I think, so Viprint kinda had to take over. The first 2 levels in the series were insane demons, and the second 2 are extreme demons, because people just wanted harder levels to beat, I guess, even though the difficulty of these 2 levels were actually criticized in the beginning, because they were so much harder than the other levels in the series, so they kind of felt out of place in some weird way. I don't know, people complain about a lot of stuff that really doesn't matter that much, let's be honest. This level has some very weird ass parts and some very inconsistent speed compared to the rest of the Sonic series. Most of Ultra and Supersonic are a lot more consistently fast. Same goes for Subsonic, which is after this. Super and Ultrasonic are mostly 3 times speed, with some 1 or 2 times speed parts every now and then to really stop the momentum when the song asks for it to stop momentum. Subsonic is basically completely 4 times speed, with some parts in the beginning being 2 or 3 times speed. And then you have Hypersonic, which has Manic Spark, which switches speeds like 6 or 7 times. So why are you like calming down? It's weird, it doesn't feel right. This level has some of the least coherent parts in the entire series, even if some of the parts actually do have fairly consistent theming, especially compared to the rest of the series. This level obviously has a slight tech theme, but some of the parts of the level feel far different from others. This level does have some insanely good parts for the time, however, like Sir Punch, Rustam, and Etzer. Hypersonic is showing its age by now, but it's really not that bad. I do feel like even Acid Reflux is more fun than Nazcap's part though. Like the part doesn't even sync, but just barely. Just comes down to muscle memory, and it's really annoying. You could have just like moved some of the spikes a bit left or a bit right so that the part actually fucking syncs. Like none of the levels in this entire series really have any click sync, but this part tries to do it and actually fails completely, which is really annoying. The last part, Terran, is also insanely chokeable. If you get unlucky with this level, oh boy do I have mortgage papers for you. Overall, Hypersonic has aged fairly well, even if it does show its age a little bit here and there, especially in the gameplay department. Anyway, onto the one with an ugly ass pink part. Subsonic is the final level in the Sonic series, at least the official ones. There are hundreds of spin-offs by now, but they are this level is very mixed in both gameplay and decoration. Subsonic has some very good parts and some absolutely god-fucking awful parts. On the one hand, we have parts like Devon, Rustam, and Panman. On the other hand, we have Evasium, which is just flat out unfinished, and Sumzar, which looks like bubblegum. This is probably the most hated level when it came out, with some people complaining that it didn't like fit in with the rest of the series or whatever. Like, what does fit in then? 9 circles? My ass. Also, this level was really hard for the time. It placed like top 10, which is higher than any of the Sonic levels I ever placed on a demon list. Unlike Hypersonic, this is actually properly an extreme demon and not some extreme demon that like borders the line between if it's extreme or insane. Even for players today, this level is very challenging, and just because you can beat all 3 of the Sonic levels doesn't mean you can beat Subsonic. It's a very flawed level with a very good song, but at least it does fit in with the rest of the series. Overall, that could have been worse. Some of the levels have aged very well, some of them not that. Either way, it doesn't matter that much. The impact this series has had on the game is insane, with it getting multiple different weird remakes and unofficial sequels, which we will come back to eventually, but not today. Thankfully, all the levels were different from each other with the exception of the Memory Bond, Hyper, and Subsonic. Let's hope the Sonic inflation story gets more widespread.